This conference will now be recorded.
Hello, and welcome to this tutorial about Circulation 101, using Sierra to perform circulation transactions, work in Circulation Desk. So we are in the Circulation Desk function, and I have a test patron brought up on my screen. Technically not in the patron record, but accessing information from the patron record to work with here to link to any circulation transactions that I might perform. So, a patron comes into the library and hands you their library card. You scan it, and it'll bring the patron up in this module. And then potentially check out items to them and send them on their merry way. A different video, I discussed getting started and checking out items. In this tutorial, I want to talk about some of the tabs that we see over here on the side of the screen here. Primarily the checked out items, what they currently have checked out, as well as the fines. By default, this system will go to the checked out tab, and this is where I would check out items to the patrons. But let's look a little farther down at some of the other tabs. So the checked out items tab will show me anything that is currently checked out to this patron. So it'll access this patron's record and show me any items that are currently listed as being checked out to this particular patron, providing me some information about the items, such as the barcode, the call numbers for those items, the location, the owning location for these items, the titles of these coming from the bib record, for these records, the current due date when these items are supposed to be returned to the library, and any particular status that might be associated with them as well. From here, if I wanted to look at either of these records, at any of the records that are here, I can highlight it and I can do a right click and I can go and look at that item record if I needed to see some additional information about this record. As well, I have a couple of options up at the top with these buttons. So we see that when I can print a due slip if I wanted to for these, but the additional buttons are grayed out until I actually select one of the items. And selecting one of these items, then these buttons become live for me, and I have some other options. So I can renew this item. So if the patron says, oh, I need a little bit more time on that item, can I renew it? I do have the option to renew this item if the item qualifies for a renewal. Now, so I can attempt to renew it for them. I can highlight this and I can click on the renew button and attempt to renew it for them. But depending on the status of the item, that may not take place. I happen to know for this one, if I were to attempt to renew this item right now, it would not renew. Let's just click on the renew button and see. Renew. It's going to bring up any messages that are associated with the item record for me to see. But then Sierra is going to let me know that the following item was not renewed because there's a hold on this item, on this title, or in this item, in this case, by another patron. So I can renew items as long as they qualify for a renewal. The reasons that they would not qualify for a renewal are that that other patrons have requested that title or that item. And so if other people are waiting for it, then Sierra will not let me renew it. As well, if the item has already been renewed, the maximum number of times that it can be renewed with during this transaction, it will not let me renew it. Now, according to the loan rules, the item can be renewed perhaps not at all, or one time or times. Never more than twice, though. There's no loan rule in our system that is going to allow more than 2 renewals. So I'm not sure what the maximum number of renewals would be on this transaction based on the loan rules, but even if there weren't any holds outstanding on it, if the maximum number of renewals had already been used for this transaction, then Sierra would not let me renew it as well. Okay, so I can click on claimed return. So if the patron says, oh, I already returned that item, that should no longer be on my account. It is possible to click on the claimed return button. It will remove it from the patron's checked out items. But it is something that we want to use infrequently. We really want to make sure that, maybe the patron should go and check at home just to see, make sure that they did return it, because this will add a note to the patron record. If I click on claims return, it'll also increment the claims return notice indicator, the counter on the patron's record. And so we just want to make sure that we use that kind of sparingly. As well, if the patron says, I took this book on vacation with me and I lost it, it's never coming back, so can I skip the overdue notice and the bill and just pay for it now? It is possible to do that with the Mark Lost Item button. If you use the Mark Lost Item button, let's do it for this one. So I'm going to highlight here, and the patron says that they had borrowed this VHS tape and they lost it, so they just want to pay for it. I can click on the Mark Lost Item, and Sierra will let me know the amount of money that it will be adding to the patron's account. It gives me the barcode, the call number, the title, the item cost. We're not using any processing fees or billing fees, though some libraries may. That's why it's listed here. We're not, and so it's just going to the amount that will be added will just be the item cost. I'm going to add that to their bill, and we see that that item is no longer listed as being on their checked out items. We also might notice that the amount, the replacement cost has been added to the fines. So probably a good time, let's jump on over to the fines tab. We've noticed when we open up patron records, when we bring up the patron information in the checked out screen, there are messages that will pop up about, needing to check the patron's email address perhaps, or if they have items that are waiting for them. So Sierra's always trying to let us know of information that we need to know about the patron that we need to acknowledge. And the tabs, it does this as well. So if the tab is red, it is indicating that there is some information that we need to acknowledge about the patron before we proceed. And so in a checked out items tab, if that tab was red, not here, it's not here, but if it was, it would indicate that there is an item in the checked out tab that is currently overdue. In the holds tab, if it's red, it means there is an item that is ready for pickup. In the fines tab, it is having it red would indicate that that there is some fine associated with this account. We see because it is displaying the amount that is on the account. But even if it didn't, I would know that there are some fines here because it is red. So if I click on that, it'll take me to the fines tab, the fines area, and I can see all the fines that are associated with this patron's account. So we see the one that I just added here, the $20 that the patron that indicated that they had lost that money. Lost that item, and some others. They purchased some earbuds at one point, some headphones from the library. They had another lost item from a previous transaction. This is a test record, so you're likely to see a lot of things like this here. Again, we have some options up top. So if I highlight one of these records, then we have some other options here. I can collect money for this. So if the patron just wants to pay off this $20, I can collect money for that. What is the amount that we want to collect? If they want to pay the entire amount, then I can say okay to that. They're currently at $25. $10 is actually the maximum is going to put a block on their account. So if they're under $10, the patron is not blocked and can still check out items, renew items, pick up holds and things. But once they go over $10, $10.01, actually I think $10 and above, then they are going to be blocked. So this patron clearly would be blocked. So they do want to get this a little lower here. So if they want to pay this amount, I can say okay to collect that amount. And then in another box, I can indicate how that money was collected. They gave me cash or a check or a credit card, or it was an amnesty, like they brought in non-perishable foods to donate to the library for a food drive or so. But in some way, I'm going to indicate how that money was how that fee was paid for, and then indicate it here in a note, perhaps. I'll say OK to that. And then I can choose to print out a receipt for the patron if they want some sort of indication that they did pay that $20 off. I'll say OK to that. And we see that that fee is no longer associated with this patron's account, and now they are back down and no longer blocked, which is nice. As well, I can waive charges. So if there's a charge that we as a library decide that they should not have been charged, we can waive those fees. So, for instance, for these headphones, maybe I could say we're going to waive those because it's for educational purposes or something. Waive selected fines. We'll say yes to that. And then again, I could indicate that it was waived. There is also the COVID-19 waive currently for any fees that were associated during the times that the libraries were closed. We'll just say waive to this for now and say okay. And again, if the patron would like to have a receipt, then we can generate that as well. So along with collecting money and waiving charges to remove charges, I can also add charges to the patron account. So I can click on Add Charge, and there are some predefined ones. So there's some that are used quite a bit, for a hold that wasn't picked up, or damaged items, or losing cassette bags or puppet bags, or things along those lines, lost audio tape. So there are some predefined codes that are in here already, and if one of those would be applicable, then you can use that. You can add the fee over here if you decide, and then add a reason. So if you're not choosing a predefined one, maybe I'll just choose one of these. We'll just say they canceled a hold. And then by clicking on OK, it will add that in as the reason. It will indicate that it was a manual fine that was added, the location associated with the fine, and the amount of the fine as well. I can also see the fines paid. So this is like an audit trail of the patron's account. Again, this is a test patron that I use for all my webinars and such. So there's a lot of fines being paid on this account. I'm hoping that an actual patron would not have so many things, and hopefully not all for the same items. But if you do need to see this, it is available to us, as well as patron notes that are associated with the patron account, such as if they ever claimed an item. So again, if we do the claimed return back from the Checkout Items tab, it does add a note to the patron record that remains on the patron record until if that item is actually ever checked in, then the note is removed from the patron record. And so now this patron is back down under $10 and is ready to check out some more items and no longer blocked.